Yo, what's going on, guys? Jared here. Today I'm back at it with another video, and this is going to be a Centurion deck profile and a little bit of an explanation, a little bit of rant, but we'll get into that in a little bit. I just want to start this video off by saying that because I didn't go to YCS Richmond, I haven't been really looking into Yu-Gi-Oh! All too much recently, so this is my first time looking into the new set that's coming out. I believe it's called Valiant Smashers. It has the Memento. It also has the Velmonicas, and then it has Centurion. So I just read through all three of these archetypes for the most part, like pretty much most cards. I looked up YouTube videos of all the decks and did some research, did some test hands of what I can do. And yeah, the Centurion it's the one. It's not even like close at all. So I'm going to talk about that more as I get into the card quality and stuff. But if you enjoyed this video, enjoyed the discussion, enjoy the deck profile, please subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, jumping into the deck profile. Okay, guys, so this is my current Centurion deck profile. This is like a very early draft, minimal testing. This is like looked at the cards, looked at videos, inspiration, my own ideas, boom, right here from where I think the format's going to go and develop, including with the tech choices. But before I actually get into the cards, I have like one complaint that I feel like I want to have a discussion point with a little bit in the comments. If you guys want to like have a little conversation with me, I usually answer the comments and I'm pretty good with it. This one's going to be about card quality and archetypes that are like side by side next to each other. And this might not be something that's new in the game in the past, but if you read through, like I just did, and like catching up on it a little bit, the Centurion archetype, right here, and then you look at the Memento archetype and you read those, and then you read the Velmonica archetype and you read those. It is insane that these are coming out within the same set, but like I could argue that Centurion is like 5 years ahead of these two archetypes of Memento and Velmonica and how they operate. It is crazy to me how easily this deck is like way better than these cards. It is crazy to me. And I just want your take on this, because I was actually originally wanted to make a Memento deck profile because I thought the cards just looked really cool. Like at first glance, I'm like, oh, these like look badass. Like they're old cards, like retrained. Like this could be super cool. And then I read the cards and I'm like they do a lot of moving around, but the moving around doesn't get to anything. There's like no reward. Like the reward's supposed to be the dragon, and this doesn't matter. The dragon's not good if all your cards are gold. It doesn't make any sense. But and then this deck's just slow. Velmonica's slow. It's cool at one card scale, but it's just slow. It does like the operation doesn't work the way you want it to. Sorry, it's just my little rant. If you leave a comment down below if you agree with me or like have the same kind of complaint or understand where I'm coming from. Like I wanted to do these decks first before I did Centurion, because I know this deck's the best one because I've heard of it before. But I can't even like think of something to make this operate. These two decks operate at a good competitive level so far. I'm going to preface so far. There might be something that comes out of the woodwork later, but for now, I was very struggling. Now, back to Centurion, where this video is supposed to be. Yes, these cards are crazy. The fact that they are each monster, the three monsters that there are continuous trap cards is insane, because that means that they get treated as the continuous trap card rules, including the fact that they can special summon themselves as quick effects during either player's turn because they're trap cards. That is silly. I don't know why they're trap cards. I don't know why they do that, but they do. I don't like a deck that pretty much has 16 one-card starters, 1.5 card starters, like a card and a discard, to get into a calamity. That's silly. Well, why is that a thing? Like, if they ban this card, this deck is still really, really good, but it's not like degenerate, right? This card just needs to get banned, in my opinion. Just get rid of it. There's nothing healthy about this card anymore. No one's making it on their own turn. It's only been used on your opponent's turn. Crimson Dragon is just stupid. Just ban the Calamity. This is just silly text. All right, into the deck profile now. The first 16 cards of this deck I'm considering starters. Pot of Prosperity, the Field Spell, Trudia, Primera. Oath is also a crazy card. I didn't even know this existed until my brother told me. Just another card that came out. It was like the last one revealed, apparently. Super, super good card, and then Terraforming for the Field Spell. All of these cards end on Calamity, a draw, the Centurion, and then follow up as well. Crazy. That's all one card. So any deck with one card starters, as you know, competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! It was always going to be competitive in like high tier of whatever. And especially can play through hand traps, because this deck also plays through hand traps, very, very well. Playing around hand traps, playing through hand traps, you can extend very well. It also has 2 trap cards. I'm currently using this one specifically because it has the graveyard effect. I don't think you need the other one game 1. You can compare it to something like Tyrion's Crime as just something to negate like something like Evenly Match or like Droplet maybe, or some other card that is stopping your play, like a board breaker going second. It's just a general counter trap that you can search in the deck. This one is more or less a Farfa type effect. We can target something and banish, but you can banish it from the graveyard to summon a Centurion Synchro and bring it back. It's a little bit smaller, but who cares? You just have the Synchro monster back, so it's free. Yeah, so I just think this one's a little bit better. This is like a cute little extender that you can use. You can play this. You can play more of this if you want to maybe play through hand traps a little bit more. But again, that's kind of depending on how the format's turning out and what the trends are in said format. So I'm kind of just assuming right now of where it's going to go. So yeah, and then in this deck, I am still playing 3 Fenrir because Fenrir is insane. It's a broken card, another card that I think is just too much. Book of Moon and Droplet. Both of these cards are in here because these both beat the Crimson Dragon. So I'll throw Ghost Ogre in there too because these cards, although being very good on their own, specifically when Centurion comes out, I am going to assume that there is going to be a huge influx in Centurion players, and that this deck is going to be probably in a tier at least 1.5 position, and that deck building will change because of how this deck operates, and I can see Book of Moon, Droplet, and Ogre all being played because of this deck. All of these cards beat the Crimson Dragon thing. That's very relevant, so you can stop yourself from getting Calamity'd. So I am currently not playing Thrust or Talons because of this also. Because getting Calamity locked and then you sitting on Thrust and Talons, you're just upset with yourself that you're even playing these cards. So this is going to be something where I'd rather have quick effects and you're always playing on both players' turn, because that's always fun, right? Like both players' turn playing. At least there's no like hand trap card like Happiness in this, so that's a blessing, I suppose. Yeah, and then we also have room to fit in besides 8 going second cards. We also have room to fit in 12 hand traps, or you could just play 20 hand traps if you wanted to, because why not? Because this deck's stupid, I guess, because you don't need a lot, because when the whole archetype is starters, it doesn't really matter anymore. Yeah, so I guess I'd have Ogre in. Ash and Valor, I think, and Imperm are the best ones currently. You could probably switch around Valor, because this doesn't stop a lot. Ash into Centurion is, like, okay. It's not that good, but it's, like, good enough. But Ash is good enough against everything else, so it's, like, fine. You're not only playing in Centurion. Same rule applies for Valor. Like, we also have to account for things like Rescue Ace, right? So that's also important. Ogre, I am like, again, this Ogre is just in here because I'm scared of Centurion Mirror. Droll doesn't really do too much against the deck, and I want other hand traps that are good against it. Maybe this could be something, like, not even like Nibiru is good, so like, or Nick Nibiru, Droll, like those aren't good either. So like maybe you can side Ogre for specifically Centurion, but this is also like good against Pearly, right? Like you can hit the Pearly continuous spell, which is like pretty solid. So yeah, like I don't know, it's like 50-50. So this is going to be, I'll leave it up to you guys. But again, this is like a starting list. I want you to be able to maneuver it and change it and edit it depending on how the format goes. But this deck does come out this weekend or next weekend, I believe. So like we are a week or 2 away from this deck coming out and these decks coming out. But realistically, sadly, as of now, these aren't even in like tier 2 spots, which is crazy. And then for the extra deck, 2 of the Synchro, you just don't think you need more than that, especially because you can break it back with the trap card as well for a 3rd one. It's just not necessary. Crimson Dragon Calamity, I'm a competitive player. I'm going to tell you what the competitive option is. This is it. I'm not happy about it, but that's how it is. Baron to Floor, Fenrir plus Ash or Ogre. It's fine. Zoro, this is actually in here because the tuner is a spellcaster, so you were able to make this. And then you can lock out, because you can lock stuff out too. You can lock out different types of extra deck monsters. So we have the Exceed, the Synchro, the Link, and the Fusion. So depending on what deck you're going against, you can lock them out. So you're going against Sword Soul, you equip the other Synchro, and it's also 2900 attack. So Chi-Chao can't beat over it. They can't Boxia it. It just stops everything. They can't activate the type of cards equipped to it. So, they can't activate Chi-Chao, Boxia, etc., etc. Salamangre, you can put something like Artemis on it. Same thing. They can't activate their Link monster effects. It's crazy. Fusion, Branded, etc., etc. They all deal with things while they're equipped to. The only one I'm going to put a little bit more emphasis on is Artemis itself, because you can actually make the Artemis by linking off the spellcaster here or the effect veiler, and you can use the Artemis and another monster to go in the SP Little Knight to be able to trigger it on its effect, because you were using a Link monster to summon it on your own turn. So just something to keep in mind. Artemis does have a little bit more multi-use in this deck because there's a spellcaster. Something to keep in mind. Typhon, because Typhon is really, really good. It's good going second card. These Zeus, of course, and Dweller, because tier elements I would expect to still be in the format. I don't see why it would leave the format, as it's very popular, very fun for a lot of players. They really enjoy it, and it can still make crazy end boards, as in my eyes, as long as Agito and Kelbeck are in the game. I think tier element will also be in the game, or unless there's some like Omega counter to it. But as of now, there's not. Like Arise Heart was the Omega counter. We don't have that anymore, so it is what it is. And then, like I said before, SP Little Knight and Masquerade, because sometimes you can make some awkward boards, game states, and you can get to like a Masquerade Fenrir type board depending on how it goes. This also helps against like stuff like D-Barrier, right? If you get D-Barrier called Synchro, it doesn't feel as bad. You can go into IP and SP with Fenrir, and you can like maybe able to like fend off for another turn with hand traps and survive. So again, these are all just little like interactions I need to keep in mind when you're playing real games of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's not always going to go the way you want it to go. You need like side avenues to go down. If X things happen, I can now go down Y path, things like that. So yeah, that is pretty much the deck profile for what it is and the explanations. I'm just very like kind of angry that I even have to. It's like I'm narrowed down to making a profile on this because I'm a competitive player and I like care about competitive things, and making like budget or not generally competitive things. Competitive is something I really enjoy. Like that's my enjoyment out of the game, is deck building with that stuff. And like archetypes like these, I can't even like for as of now figure it out. It's like frustrating to me that there's like nothing that like I can figure out with these two decks right now. I think this one has a little bit more promise because there's a lot more moving parts to it, so there's a lot more interactions you can squeeze in there. But yeah, this deck, it is cool. Like they're cool decks, but I just want them to work better. But the Centurion, by far, I understand why 5 of these are ultras. This is the only thing that's going to sell that set, because I don't think people are going to be ripping open the set to open up mementos, sadly. But yeah, overall, I hope you guys enjoy this this deck profile. This is like I said, this is going to be competitive. I'm like 90% sure this is going to be competitive just because of how these cards operate. So be ready for these. Make sure you know what they do. Look into them. It's really, really good. So again, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys enjoyed the information and how they operate and things like that. And again, please subscribe if you did. And I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.